The opinions shared by our host and guests are their own and don't necessarily reflect the views of the Organization of American States or its donors. Thank you for tuning in.
Las opiniones expresadas por nuestros presentadores e invitados son propias y no necesariamente reflejan las ideas de la Organización de los Estados Americanos ni de sus donantes. Gracias por acompañarnos.
Welcome to a new episode of Zona, a project led by the Organization of American States Office in the adjacency zone between Belize and Guatemala, with the financial support of the government of Spain. In today's episode, we're speaking to members of the Gillen University Anthropology Club and exploring the power of women in community spaces, how knowledge is shared, traditions are preserved, and leadership grows across generations. We will be speaking with a community leader from San Antonio in Cayo district of Belize, who is the founder of the women's cooperative that brings its people together to learn, support one another, and strengthen their community. We will also hear from a Gillen University student that is a part of the anthropology club herself, and she will help us to understand how these grassroots efforts connect us to the cultural and social dynamics.
Yes, my name is Timotea Mesh, and I am the leader of the San Antonio Women's Cooperative. I am one of the founders of the San Antonio Women's Cooperative since 2001, and presently also I am a Gillen student in anthropology.
Oh, very nice. And my name is Leasha St. Clair. I am an anthropology major at Gillen University, and I am currently looking into going into Maya archaeology. So all things history related are what my focus is on right now.
I would like to hear about the story behind this incredible initiative. Can you share a little bit about your community in San Antonio and what inspired you to found this women's cooperative?
Sure. Well, first of all, I think what started as just something to entertain myself evolved into what we would say as a tourist destination for people that would visit Belize and want to learn about culture. What inspired me is that I came from a very large family with very low opportunities of education, and I got married at a very young age. And for me, when I was growing, I saw and I said, okay, I really had that desire to study and prepare myself and be someone in life, which I didn't have the opportunity to do so. And then when I got married, I said, okay, very young and being at home. Then I started finding friends that had the same idea or the same passion for learning and making something for themselves. I had 3 friends that we spoke and we shared ideas. I normally read books, and at that time I was learning how to cook different things that was not normally taught in a traditional family. And we started sharing these ideas with them and visiting from home every week. We would cook in different houses, and that's how we started. From cooking, we moved on to learning how to cook, to make good combinations of colors and embroidery, because it's something that you grow up learning with your family in a traditional home. Mom would teach you how to make embroidery, but maybe back then people didn't know how to combine colors, and we said, okay, we can't continue doing this, just we can make it a little more colorful and make it more presentable. And that's how we started learning these skills.
Yeah.
Back then, sewing machines were not very common. We would sew just by hand stitch. And I approached the women's department for loaning some sewing machines as well. for us to sew the blouses or the dresses and then do the embroidery on them. That's how we first started learning these type of skills. From there, then we found more opportunities where we could get material for us to continue making other types of art. And by doing these things, we started having and receiving friends at home. My group then started growing because they saw the interest. We started with just 3 ladies, 4, and then it grew up to 16. We during these classes it went up to 30 people in one session, all because they were doing different things and sharing these little skills that we were teaching them. Friends that came over to visit us would bring us donations as fabrics, yarns, and we would find a use for it.
Yeah.
Those are the little things that we started doing in our community with women. As I say, eventually it started formalizing and being more into a business type of thing. And then there is where I came with the idea, okay, if we are doing this, maybe we can find a way that we can sell, and then women can have a little extra income for their homes, for themselves, to invest in their children, in their education of their kids as well. And as I say, friends started coming, and as normal that when you are hosting someone in your family, you would prepare meals for them, right? Serve them water. Because they spend the whole time with us.
Yeah.
And by preparing their meals, we would make them tortillas, or we would cook on the fire heart, and they were captured. The attention was captured.
Mm-hmm.
Just us being normal, cooking on a fire heart, and then they said, okay, this is something interesting, this is something that we're not seeing at our homes, and they asked us to do it over and over for their friends, and more people started coming in, and that's how it started growing into a business.
Could you please share with us what challenges did you face when starting and leading this amazing initiative?
Yes, of course, because we're living in a very traditional community, right? And then culture is that women are to be at home for being housewives. They're taking care of the kids. We are known to be an agricultural community as well. And then agriculture involves the whole family. And whenever there are not machinery to do the work, then hand labor has to be done, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the whole family gets involved in harvesting in the products. Now, this is the lifestyle. If you're at home, then you have to help your husband, or you have to help with harvesting the products. These are chores that a traditional family would do at home.
Yeah.
And these were the challenges. We had to learn how to work with these women by not affecting the family, not creating conflict with the family, with the kids. Ladies had to come over for their trainings with their kids around. I myself as well, because I have 3 young daughters. At that time they were toddlers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we had to learn to work with these type of challenges. So whenever their chores were done at home, they would have an extra time, and this is the time that we would use for our trainings, for our workshops, for our gatherings. So these are basic things that I'm speaking about, like finding the time how to work with them.
And this question can be answered by either or both of you. Why do you think women's leadership is especially important in preserving culture and in strengthening community life?
You want to answer that, Leasha?
So women naturally, that they have this caring nature, and when you leave women to make decisions and create that mindset and fostering children into community, right? It's important because they were trained firsthand by their mothers and by their grandmothers, and it's generations of people. And so preserving culture is important because women were the ones who were firsthand getting these experiences, and so it's important to respect and acknowledge where they stand in our community. And for people like Ms. Timotea, she emphasized a lot on trying to work with these women to not only preserve their community but also upgrade it or add a little something else, right? So to always keep on evolving, I would say, yeah.
Now let's talk about culture itself, the work that keeps traditions alive. Your cooperative makes traditional Maya pottery, weaving, and food. Can you share the cultural meaning behind these practices?
Yes, so we talk and we present about 3 main projects that we have formed at the cooperative. We do embroidery, we do food preservation, and we do pottery. We think that these 3 projects are projects that keeps us connected with our culture. Food, is one of the main. Yes, food. You can identify culture by the food that we prepare, right? Pottery is something that we read about history. We're learning a lot about history, right? And ceramics, and much of the dating would be through ceramics and pottery. So that is one of our main projects that we have set at the cooperative. And embroidery, it's something that traditionally women, these are the things that they make at home. These are the art that they make at home. And we think that these connects us to our culture.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you learned these traditions? Who taught you, and how are you making sure that these are passed down to the new generations?
Yes, that's just Leasha just mentioned, right? These are our art or work that have been taught us by our mother, our grandmother. These are things that has been passed on through generation, except for pottery. For making pottery, we had to start and make a lot of researches before we started or creating the type of pottery that we're making. We had to learn how to take the material. We are using local source clay, so we have to learn how to identify that type of material to do the pottery. And we couldn't do it by ourselves. Of course, we had guidance from the elders in our community, but then we had to find guidance. For example, in making the type of paint that we're doing right now, we are doing a type of paint that is called terra sigillata, that where we use the same pigments of clay to create our colors. And these colors that we use, it has to go through a process extracting those pigments from the clay through a process, and then this is what we use to paint our pottery. And through the researches, we have learned that this is how people used to make their pottery before. Basic colors that we have discovered would be the red, the blacks, and the white. which were the colors that were used way back before. I'm getting to learn this now because of the classes that we have and the researches that we're doing in class as well. So there's where I'm learning a little more about what we're doing at home.
Leasha, can you elaborate a little bit more about the anthropological perspective on how do you think traditional crafts and food help preserve cultural identities?
So, to answer this question, I think I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what Ms. Timotea said. It's from generations that we have seen parents give their children these knowledge, right? And with pottery, we can date sites, we can tell stories, and all of it. And it is important that we keep on doing it. Because for me, it's that I'm privileged enough to know about what was happening in 500 AD or sometime when this great civilization was around. And they're no longer the original Mayas from that time are no longer here. And to have people from that same community passing down their information, it is important to keep it alive because we want to acknowledge these great people. They were amazing astrologers and mathematicians, and to say we're going to leave that knowledge just there and not keep evolving it and working with it would be a waste, right? And so it is relatively important for students, for young people like myself, to get an understanding of what life was like back then. So, yeah.
How do you think anthropologists have approached women's empowerment in indigenous communities, and how was traditional knowledge becoming a tool in the community?
Women were key factors in like learning Maya history and carrying it on, right? And so anthropologists, they are always seeking knowledge and they want to know more. And so they would go to them and, sit down and be around the table and be like, okay, so tell me what you know. Or, get to just look around and see, okay, this is how you guys created your food and this is how you cook and, this is why you do things the way you do it. And so it's women help them to write these articles that we read or these books, right? And so they would spend time with them.
That was a very good insight. Now, as we look forward to the future, I would like to reflect on what comes next to both the community knowledge and the academic spaces. What are your hopes for the future of the cooperative?
Well, my hopes now, as I said, when I started, I didn't have any idea where this was going. But now that I am more open into this and I have seen the impact that it has given into our community, I would like more opportunities for young girls. I would like more opportunities for women, and I would like our art to be known and recognized because it's something that plays a big role in our history and we do not want it to get lost. We have done a lot, we have created a lot from zero to what we have discovered right now. It's been a lot. And our young girls are starting to get adapted to it, to learn the work. And I would like to see the growth to this. We have plans of having more people involved where they cannot just come and make a piece of pottery, but it's a piece of art, it's a piece of their history, it's a piece of who we are. That's how we want people to know us. And something that our younger people can appreciate and just make for themselves and get to know people, to know them about who they are.
What message would you give the young girls that want to keep their traditions?
It's just for them to be we want them not to be shy. We want them to not to be intimidated about anyone. Be yourself. Appreciate who you are. Culture is beautiful. Culture is beautiful, and we the people, we are learning to have respect to our culture and embrace our culture more. That is, I think that would be something that we need to put more into it.
And Leasha, as a young woman who is entering in the field of anthropology, how do you view the importance of studying women's histories and ancestral knowledge?
It is important because it is the most organic form of history, right? It's the most unedited, unmistakable, unapologetic way of learning who these people are while knowing them for their true self. And I think it's important for myself, especially, to appreciate them just a little bit more, because sometimes it's scary to open up to people and be open to judgment and to discrimination and to be looked at as, why are you doing that? That's not how we're supposed to do it. And so for me, it's important that when I'm in a space and I'm surrounded by these indigenous people, that I am showing my appreciation as much as possible, because I want to know more, and it helps to preserve their knowledge. And for the people that I've come across, it's always exciting for them to share what they know and just to be open.
And how do you hope to use your anthropology knowledge to help these communities?
So one of my biggest goals is to always be a voice for people, especially people who might seem to not have a voice in a bigger platform or a bigger audience. And so, again, getting that one-on-one experience with them and being able to translate that to people of different calibers of life and different social groups, it's important so that I can speak on their behalf and be like, you guys should come and meet them or talk to them. They have so much to know. And so giving them a space to exist in a world that some of them might not even think is possible. Some young girls might not think it's possible to even do what we're doing here, right? And so it's important to show them that, hey, your history and your origins are important, and others want to know about it.
Thank you both for sharing your experiences and perspectives with us today. It has been a pleasure having you here and learning from your stories and knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you very much as well for inviting us.
And thank you everyone for listening to La Zona St podcast. Today was a very insightful session when we learn and explore how women, community, and cultural knowledge continue to shape and strengthen traditions across generations. I hope this conversation give you all the deeper appreciation for the voices and stories that keeps culture alive. Thank you.
Thank you very much.